Two sets of players are out. A magnificent tifo from the Eintracht supporters at one end of the ground. Just entirely a black and white mosaic with the club's badge emblazoned proudly right in the middle. Die Adler sind auf Beutezug. My German teachers won't be particularly proud of me for that. But it was a long time ago. Eintracht in all white tonight, and Spurs in their change kit of green with the white detailing. Tottenham lining up Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogi, Bergvall, Bentancur and Madison, Johnson, Solanke and Tell, who has played here once already this season in a 3-3 draw for Bayern at Eintracht back in October. The referee this evening is the experienced Italian Davide Massa, with Alejandro Di Paolo, his compatriot, on VAR duty. Quick word about Tottenham's approach tonight, because there is a plan A. There isn't much of a plan B. By Ange's admission, he doesn't really feel that he wants a plan B. Plan A tonight, to come out and have a go at Eintracht. Is that the way that you would play?
No, I think they've got players that could be excellent on the counter-attack, and I've seen him play that way against Manchester City earlier on in the season with great success. I would like to see that from the start in this game. I think they're capable of causing all sorts of problems on the counter-attack against Eintracht Frankfurt, but they do like to play out from the back, so I wonder whether they'll just try and control the way they always do.
Well, a couple of results already in the Conference League playoffs. Fiorentina and Real Betis have made it through in their respective games tonight. Chelsea in action against Legia Warsaw. That one kicks off at 8. We'll keep you up to date over on Talksport right now. Manchester United against Lyon, 2-2 from the first leg. And we'll also keep you up to date with everything that happens with Rangers against Athletic Bilbao. But when Ange's Spurs story is written, the next 90 minutes will be heavily referenced. Is this the night that they beat continental opposition in a European quarter-final for the first time in 41 years? Or will a 22nd defeat of the season put the lid on the campaign and make everything that follows a Postecoglou postscript? Spurs getting from left to right in this first half, and in early possession with the captain Romero controlling the ball and working it across the edge of his penalty area for Van der Ven. You just wonder, had those two been fit all season and not been out at the same time for a long period of time, exactly what Tottenham's campaign would be looking like, and Postecoglou's long-term job prospects, how they would be different to what they are now. Porro, who scored a wonderful goal in that first leg, flights the ball forward down the right-hand touchline. It's easily mopped up at the back by Robin Koch, the former Leeds defender, finding his goalkeeper, Kawa Santos. Clearance from him, Tayat heading it on towards Brown, ordinarily a fullback, but started on the left wing last week, and he's reprising that role today. Now ball forward, Ekitike giving chase, and Van der Ven just moved across his line to make sure that he couldn't get a clean run towards the ball. That was the only invitation that Ekitike needed to go down, but the referee, who was well placed, said nothing doing. 90 seconds gone here on Talksport 2. It's 0-0.
No, I didn't think there was quite enough in that. It's just the speed of the two of them as well, colliding. I mean, he's so impressive, Van der Ven. I mean, you sense it when Tottenham are at home. The minute he starts to accelerate, fans get excited. They're off their feet for a defender defending. It's actually quite unusual at times to see it. I think Ekitike actually was the one that clipped Van der Ven's heels, trying to get beyond him.
Scored in the first leg, Ekitike. He's got 21 goals this season, a rate of one every other game. Here's the Belgian international defender, Tayat. Good little 1-2 between him and Brown ahead of him, and then he's worked it through the midfield for Ekitike. Cleverly adjusts and finds Mario Götze. Götze's ball back in behind Ekitike, and coming onto it, Bahoya snatched to the shot that didn't really get any contact on at all, and it just dribbles through harmlessly towards Vicario.
But they're wide open. They're playing as Johnson now loses out, but they were wide open when Frankfurt looked to push forwards there. Mario Götze plenty of space on the left-hand side because Porro wasn't anywhere to be seen. And then Bohoya was able just to control and strike, a poor strike at that, dribbling it towards Vicario. But already there, the signs that Eintracht Frankfurt know there's the space. When they turn over possession, it's quickly into those wide areas.
3 minutes gone 0-0, and an ominous start with a small O rather than a capital one for Spurs. A free kick to defend here. Teat leaving it for Götze to flight inside the box, and Vicario didn't know whether to come out or not. In the end, he led his defenders to the job, and it's headed behind for a corner.
Yeah, I think it was Solanke there at the near post, just flicking that up and over. It was a really decent ball from Mario Götze. Flashed in, obviously with the amount of rain has been falling. All you know you need to get there is a skimming header, and that's going to flash past Vicario once it hits the floor.
And Nathaniel Brown, the German winger, will go across to take this first corner of the night. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinging delivery with 4 minutes in here on Talksport 2 at 0-0. 1-1 on aggregate. And Tuta, the Brazilian centre-half, is forward and inside the 6-yard box. Ekitike is, as the corner comes in, the referee's actually blown his whistle beforehand because he's not happy with the jockeying for position that's going on between Johnson and Robin Koch. Ekitike is being watched every step of the way by Destiny Udogie at the moment. Koch stumbles, in comes the delivery now, and it's a good header away from Bentancur, out for Götze onto his right foot, and it bounces nicely in front of Vicario, can get his body behind it and save another shot on target. But they've had 2 of those in the opening 5 minutes at 0-0.
Yeah, that was too easy again. Bentancur just turning his back initially when Götze faked to shoot and then just got out of his feet. It was again a decent strike, looking to use the surface, skipping it off that, but straight at Vicario. Nice and tidy from the goalkeeper.
Koch with the header away, the ball brought down in the midfield by Larsen, and finding Teat, and the Belgian in the yellow boots will bring the ball forward down the left-hand touchline. He can't thread it through towards Brown. Spurs clear. It immediately comes back again before Porro sticks his foot on the ball to calm things down and work it back for Vicario. Spurs coming into this with a poor away record, 4 away defeats in a row in all competitions, and only 9 wins in their last 29 games in League and Cup. But bottom line is, this is one that they don't necessarily have to win, and certainly I think that if they can replicate the level of performance that they showed last week, that may well be good enough, because I think last week's game, where they would have won 8 or 9 times out of 10, they started slowly in that. Ekitike had already given Eintracht the lead by this stage of the game, and Tottenham's response as they grew into it was excellent. They're going to have to grow into this one as well after a slightly slow start. Romero heading the ball away, then brought down by the blonde-haired Bergvall in the centre circle. The Italian referee doing his best to take evasive action, trying to read Bergvall's intentions and get out of the flight line of the next pass, and eventually he was able to do that. Romero launches a long one forward that Dominic Solanke's going to chase. The bounce of the ball, kind for him. He's just bustled his way into Koch, and the referee's given a free kick against him. I think he'll consider himself very unlucky though.
Ridiculous. I mean, unless he thinks it's a handball because it's ricocheted off his hand as he's put that across Robin Koch. But I thought it was really good centre forward play, great run down the side. You want to see more of that actually from Dominic Solanke, being that genuine threat in behind.
Now Udogie has been fouled by Bohoya, and the free kick goes Tottenham's way. They work it back to the back line with 7 minutes in. 0-0. Eintracht currently 3rd in the Bundesliga, which would be their best finish if they can end up that high since 1992, where they finished 2nd. Dino Topmüller, a very popular coach, not least because his old man Klaus briefly coached Eintracht and also led Bayer Leverkusen to a Champions League final back in the day. Topmüller Jr. on the books of Manchester City for a spell as a young man, but I don't think he made a senior appearance for City. But certainly has done well as a coach. The side have considered a free kick here for a push on Bergvall. We're 8 minutes in. It's 0-0. Spurs yet to have any decent possession at all in and around the Eintracht Frankfurt final third.
No ball, so what I'd quite like to see is that early ball in towards Solanke. Yes, of course you want to play good football, but especially early on in a game, if you can get it forwards in towards your centre forward and get people around him and push up the pitch, I think it helps you. Bergvall, a couple of times now, just getting on the ball. He's already a fan's favourite, Lucas Bergvall. They boo most times when he's taken off. Absolute superstar in waiting, really, the 19-year-old.
Yeah, picked up for £8.5 million. I was going to say for a relative song is these days for a player who immediately plays 40-odd games for a Premier League club. Been playing his football in Sweden for Djurgården. Ball swept well by Ekitike out towards the right-hand side. Christensen is on loan from Leeds United. Little 1-2 between him and Bohoya, and then he tries to play Bohoya in down the right-hand side of the penalty area, but the covering is good from Udogie, whose clearance then is straight into Christensen. That bounced potentially awkwardly through the penalty area, but Van der Ven was there to clear, and then Solanke going up for it. Koch has gone down injured, but I think, if anything, he was the guilty party. He's gone down holding his face, but that was self-induced. It might end up being a free kick to Spurs here.
Well, Solanke's protected himself and won the ball. Robin Koch's got to realise he's not going to win it and he's got to pull out of the challenge, and he doesn't. Solanke, as he goes to win the header and flick it on, he turns his shoulder in towards Robin Koch to take the brunt of that and win the header. But obviously Robin Koch then takes the full force of Solanke's shoulder in his face, and that's why he's now lay on the turf. But that's just a protection movement from Dominic Solanke.
There's a challenge that you would have imagined Robin Koch would have been able to see coming, would have been able to get out of the way. I think he's okay. They're having to go through the full concussion protocol because there was a hefty bang on the side of the face. It's still 0-0. Manchester United 1, Lyon 0. Manuel Ugarte has given United the lead. It's live for you right now over on Talksport. That's 1-0 on the night and 3-2 on aggregate for Ruben Amorim's men, who are unbeaten at home in 6 but haven't won any of the last 4 games that they played in all competitions. They lead tonight. They will play the winners of the Rangers-Bilbao tie, which is still 0-0 on aggregate 11 minutes into this second leg. Also a goal at Stamford Bridge, where Legia Warsaw lead Chelsea by a goal to 0. Chelsea naming a really strong side as they look for their 11th win in 12 European matches this season. They trail 1-0 on the night. They're still 3-1 up on aggregate. This one is 0-0 and back underway. 1-1 on aggregate. And the ball is with the Spurs keeper Vicario, who chips it out towards the left for Udogie. Driven forward by him towards Tell, who tries to supply the return ball. Knocks it straight off Bohoya, his countryman, and out of play for a Tottenham throw. 11 minutes in.
I think the encouragement for Tottenham is how passive at the moment Eintracht Frankfurt are being. They're not really pressing that back line. They're not looking to win it particularly high up. They're allowing comfortable possession for the 2 Tottenham centre-backs, and it's meaning Porro and Udogie can just ease their way forwards.
There is Robin Koch. He's fine after that bang that he picked up to the side of the face. And he plays it back for Caio Santos, the young Brazilian goalkeeper who's only played a couple of dozen senior games in his career. Bohoya getting it forward. Ekitike trying to take the ball on the turn and run past Romero. But the Spurs captain far too wily to be caught by that. And he just flicked it straight out of play for a throw. Bergvall then winning it back in the midfield for Tottenham. Lovely little pirouette, and then a classic nutmeg of Bohoya to feed Tell and Udogie over on the Tottenham left-hand side. It's beautifully done by Bergvall.
Yeah, lovely, wasn't it? Close control. That's great from Maddison too.
Chipped over the top for the run down the left-hand side from Udogie. Solanke trying to get across the near post. He was pulled back towards the penalty spot, but Larsson was there. And the Swede can clear for Eintracht Frankfurt out towards Mario Götze.
Oh, he just picked the wrong option there. Udogie needed to get his head up because Solanke made a brilliant run. he was devastated, really, the way he reacted, Dominic Solanke, because he knew he got away from the defender and he was ready just to tap in and the near post if it had been flashed across. But it was a really good break from Tottenham. Maddison once again orchestrating.
Spurs bringing the ball forward, and they've got it inside Eintracht territory with a crossfield ball for Lucas Bergvall. Bergvall towards Johnson. Johnson immediately pressurised by Tayat. Plays the way that he's facing. Back towards halfway for Bergvall. Another chance for Spurs to bring it forward, and they have grown into the game after that slow start, similar to the way that they progressed last week. Romero's ball forward, not quite as accurate as he would have wanted it to have been, but he still found Pedro Porro, who caused problems with the positioning that he had last week in and around the edge of the D, on the edge of the box, almost playing as a 10 at times, given the licence to come forward from right back. On this occasion, he can't make anything work Spurs' way, and Christensen has it back. The Dane right back for Eintracht Frankfurt, laying it back to his goalkeeper. Out towards Koch, now to Tayat. Tayat a couple of yards in from the left-hand touchline, roll forward towards Brown. Brown trying to buy a throw off Johnson. I think he's managed it, just took a touch off the Welsh international now for a throw that will be taken on the Eintracht Frankfurt left. You're listening to Frankfurt against Tottenham in the Europa League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you. Here's the National.
Yeah, just a couple of points from a Tottenham perspective. Moments ago, Van der Ven walked straight out of his centre-back position in towards the left wing position to close down Bohea, because that's what the manager wants, and he's aggressive enough to do it. It's something I think Ruben Amorim wants at Manchester United, is his centre-backs being really brave to step out. He's done that, and also Romero trying to play that ball, piercing right through to Porro, who's in the midfield position.
Well, Eintracht have got a problem here for Mario Götze, and I think he's got a hamstring strain that means that his race is run. Didn't play at the weekend in the convincing win against Heidenheim in the Bundesliga as a precaution, because he's just been carrying this injury. He went and sat down on the left-hand touchline. The referee has stopped play so that he can receive some treatment. Now play goes on with Eintracht temporarily down to 10 men. I don't think Götze is going to be able to continue. He's going to give it a shot, but not convinced that this is anything more than just passing a little bit of time until they can make a change. Appearing to maybe indicate there that it was an impact injury. Good ball, straight up the top, Ekitike. What a challenge from Van der Ven. Sliding in, denying Ekitike. Route 1 from Carlos Santos, just launched all the way through, 80 yards forward. Ekitike making the run in behind Van der Ven and Romero. He's run from inside his own half, but Van der Ven's given him 6 yards, and he got there first.
I mean, it's abysmal defending to start with. How Ekitike can just run straight through from the goalkeeper's kick, but then Van der Ven, like an Olympic sprinter in the final 10 metres pushing for the line. It's like he just got faster and faster, and you just think Ekitike is just going to slide it in, and there he, from nowhere, he just comes and takes the ball. It's outstanding defending in the end, but they shouldn't be in that position anyway. They shouldn't be in a position where it's last ditch, just from the goalkeeper having it in his hands.
But this is something we've seen so many times with Tottenham deliberately defending with a high line. They know that they've got the pace of Van der Ven to get them out of trouble when necessary, but they take real gambles with that, and their starting position is on halfway, if not a yard or so inside Eintracht territory.
But Ekitike was really clever in that he went close to Bentancur, but attacking side, and obviously it just went straight over Bentancur's head. Romero Van der Ven was split, and he was almost straight through. It was only the pace of Van der Ven that was there to save them.
Eintracht have made their change. Götze's off, and Fares Chaibi, the Algerian winger, has come on to replace him. He came off the bench in the first leg as well. Here's Tayat playing the ball forward towards Larsson. And now Chaibi at Jesper Christensen. That's a really good first contribution from the substitute. His ball into the feet of Bohoya was easily read by Bentancur, who has stepped up and was able to knock it away. A good play then by Madison. And it goes back for Rodrigo Bentancur again, who fires it across to Pedro Porro. 18 minutes gone. It's Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Spurs 0 here on Talksport 2. 1-1 on aggregate. Another long ball from the Spurs back line. Tell chasing after it. It sails over his shoulder and goes out of play. What's Ange made of the opening 18 minutes, Dean?
Well, I think other than that moment when Ekitike was almost through, I think he'd be really pleased. I think they've controlled the game. They've pushed Frankfurt back into their own half. He'll want a little bit more from the forward players, of course he will. But it's still early on. You want to get Madison on the ball as much as you can. I just think he's a wonderful talent. And he sees things that other players just can't.
If you're just joining us here on Talksport 2, one change for Spurs. Tell in for the injured Son. Now that's one change from the first leg, 5 from the weekend. Eintracht making 3 from the weekend in picking the same team that drew in North London last week. 19 minutes in. It's 0-0 on the night, 1-1 on aggregate here on Talksport 2, with Manchester United leading 1-0 over on Talksport. If you've got the Talksport app, it's really easy just to flick between the two games. And over on Talksport, they're also keeping you abreast of everything that's happening in the Rangers and Chelsea matches. Rangers still 0-0 and 0-0 on aggregate. Chelsea got down on the night, 3-1 up on aggregate at home to Legia Warsaw. Robin Koch brings the ball forward. Solanke's come back with him and just nudges it away. Now Brennan Johnson has got verdant green grass to run into, and he runs down the right hand side of the penalty. He's pulled it back towards the edge of the box, and coming onto it, Tell, not quite an air shot, but not much better, right footed. He might even have had a sweep on that and flick it onto his left boot, but it's gone innocuously wide. But a great run for, great tracking by Solanke, good ball in from Johnson. Tell coming to meet it. It was a move that had everything but the finish.
Well, he's one of the best out of possession, Dominic Solanke. He's brilliant for your side, wins the ball back, puts pressure on Robin Koch, and then Brennan Johnson's away, uses his pace, picks out Tell on the edge of the box. It's there to be struck. He really rushes it. He really snatches at it. There wasn't a control about his body and the way he was set. It was just a thrash at the ball, hoping that he would make good contact, which is difficult when everything is so slippy with the rain that has fallen. It's a chance, though.
He's a 1 in 5, 1 in 6 man in his career, Matisse Tell, and that is a statistic that I appreciate is a little confusing, bearing in mind how many games that he's come off the bench. He's got a few penalties in there as well, mine. 3 goals in his 11 games for Spurs so far, having scored in back-to-back league matches. We're 20 minutes in, it's 0-0, 1-1 overall. It's Chaibi, the Eintracht substitute. Now they've gone over the top again for Ekitike, but his touch was poor and he just presented it straight to Romero. Romero is then being wrestled by Ekitike. He got the ball out from underneath his feet, played a safe pass, but he was being fouled, so it's a free kick to Tottenham.
What it does do, though, it just pricks the ears, doesn't it, of the centre-forward Ekitike. He now thinks, right, I now just have to have good awareness, wait for Romero and Van de Ven to split and play a high line, get in around Bentancur and then make that run. So now he'll be looking for it constantly, and so will his teammates.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Christensen letting the ball go over his shoulder and straight out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Eintracht, whose home form's pretty tidy. They've had 3 home defeats in 21 games this season, beaten by Leverkusen, Mainz and Union Berlin. They have actually beaten 4 of the top 9 in the Bundesliga. Not many of those victories have come on nights as inclement as this. It's a filthy night in Frankfurt. The rain driving down. This game had been playing in Dortmund. They might have had to have postponed it because of the water that will be coming down through the stadium roof. Lazio lead by a goal to 0 against Werder Glimt, and that is significant for these two teams because the winners of this play the winners of that. So the Norwegians still 2-1 up on aggregate, but Lazio have halved the aggregate deficit with a goal midway through the first half. Chaibi, French-born Algerian international, playing it forward. And little reverse ball down towards Brown, whose cross is blocked. And it goes over the line and out of play for another Eintracht corner, the second.
Yeah, I think Chaibi's probably offside in that instance. It was actually a decent line from Tottenham, but once he's got into that position. And the issue is for Tottenham is Frankfurt aren't having to play that well. They've not been that impressive so far, yet they've got themselves into good positions so easily.
So here's the bearded winger Chaibi, right-footed ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, a commanding header away. Well dealt with by Solanke. The ball comes back in again from the right flank. It bounces once. Chaibi can bring it under control on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Faced up by Porro, his cross is blocked. Loose ball ricochets outside the box for Ekitike. Back from him to Larson. Down towards Chaibi again. Chaibi's next ball forward is also well blocked, this time by Johnson. And Eintracht in picking up possession, a force with Schiri to go all the way back for his goalkeeper. Out again towards Larson. Larson to Tuta. Tuta out to Rasmus Christensen, who made 30 appearances in his time at Leeds, last of which actually came in a game against Spurs. Ball on the right-hand side. In from Bahoya, flick header from Chaibi. Comfortably dealt with by Vicario. Just went down onto his knees at the near post and clasped the ball into his body.
Yeah, it's such a difficult header when it's slightly behind you, so you're having to manoeuvre your body to make sure you can head it and get the angle right towards goal. But then you lose the power because of that. You lose the momentum of moving forwards towards the ball. And Chaibi there did his best, made a good effort of it, but straight at Vicario and quite easy to handle.
Chaibi has been lively since coming on. I mean, they lose the artistry of Goetze to that injury, but they've got more of a dynamism with the man that's replaced him.
Yeah, it's a great point, because that's what they've been looking for, is that quick one or two passes in behind the Tottenham defence.
Tell and Udogie making headway up the Tottenham left-hand side, exchanging passes. Maddison then tries to play it back forward towards Udogie. It breaks Tell's way, good strike, and well saved by the diving Cara Santos, away to his left-hand side. And flicked it away from the top right-hand corner. It was a relatively comfortable stop. Not as good as some of those that he was forced to make last week, but that's Tottenham's best moment of the day.
It's a magnificent strike, is what it is, from Matthias Tell. He was just fed the ball by James Maddison, just swivelled on the edge of the area and looked to arc it into that far right top corner. Carl Santos, you're right, using all of that massive frame of his to pour it away with both hands.
Now, when you do a magnificent tifo before the game with black and white bits of paper, you then arm the fans with black and white bits of paper. Porro to take this corner, and faced by a barrage, delivers the corner in, and did well to get out of the way of the soggy paper missiles that were coming in his direction. Corner is clear. Ball goes out to the Tottenham left, where Tell, who's come closer than anybody to breaking the deadlock tonight, lays it back. Porro, 3 on the edge of the penalty area. If Spurs can get an early ball in, they've elected to take a more conservative route instead. Back for Van der Ven. He finds Porro, and he will go all the way back for Guillermo Vicario, who controls it. Comes 3, 4, 5 steps out of the penalty area, and now motions to drive the ball forward, but instead side puts it to his right hand side. Porro delivering a lengthier ball forward. Eintracht win it back. Chaibi waiting on the left hand touchline, couldn't quite get the ball to him. Brown did his best, but mopped up comfortably, firstly by Bentancur and then by Romero. Back for Vicario again. 27 minutes gone here on Talksport 2, still 0-0 and 1-1 on aggregate. Romero with a ball that was just a little bit chancy as he tried to chip the ball over the top of the on-rushing Chaibi. He managed that part of it, but he got the direction wrong, and he goes straight past Johnson now to play for a throw that Tayat will take.
Well, because of the amount of rain and the surface, you have to be perfect. If you're going to zip the ball about, you only have to be a fraction off when it's away from your teammate. They've not yet found any sort of flow, have they, or rhythm to their attacking play yet, Tottenham.
Porro plays the percentages and puts the ball straight out for a throw that Artur Tayat is going to come forward. Man, it was sent off twice in 3 days earlier this season. He's got a good long throw on him though. He's dried the ball, hurls it in towards the near post. A potentially dangerous flick on. Spurs defenders off balance, and Bentancur, claiming he was being pulled back, actually flicked the ball over his own shoulder to safety, but out for another corner.
Yeah, he probably was being fouled, but still he's got to do a better job of making sure he gets all the side foot on that and clear it away, not put your team under pressure with a corner kick.
Brown's going to go across to take this one, so it's going to be another in-swinger from the Eintracht right. Skiri making himself a nuisance inside the 6-yard box as the ball comes in over Tayat's head. He was the target. It comes off an Eintracht player, bounces, and then it's played back outside the penalty area for Chaibi. Bentancur leading the press from the front, but Larsen will just flight the ball out towards Christensen. Ball stops and stays stone dead for a couple of seconds. Spurs put the pressure on, but Eintracht just play it away across the back line from right to left. And then Tayat with the long black hair, laying it back for Tuta. Tuta to Skiri. Skiri working it between the lines in the midfield, and an opportunity for Bahoya to be able to turn. He plays it out towards Christensen. Right-footed ball in from him. Van der Ven heads it away. Chaibi again was lurking. He's really shown up well, the substitute. Another ball in from Tayat. That's well blocked by Johnson, who turned and it hit his shoulder and goes out of play for a throw. A throw that is very quickly taken. A work back for Larsen. Another chance for Tayat to deliver. The doggy on the end of it can head it away. Only as far as Christensen. He pokes it back for Robin Koch. Right-footed ball driven in from the centre half. Bounces on the edge of the 6-yard box, but curves down towards the corner flag. Fielded by Tayat. Spurs under a little bit of pressure here. Back from Larsen it goes. 20 yards outside the penalty area to Tuta, the centre half. And then to Tayat. Tayat working it forward. Chaibi couldn't get there. And Vicario gives Bentancur a shout to leave it and let the ball run out of play for a goal kick with 30 minutes in, and it's still 0-0.
Well, it's clearly something they're targeting. Eintracht Frankfurt is, when they get it wide, looking to flash that in towards the penalty area, get plenty of white shirts in and around that defensive Tottenham unit. So far been dealt with reasonably well actually by the Tottenham defence.
Domestically, Spurs have had a really poor record this season in matches against the better opposition. Their record in the Premier League, this was something we touched upon last week, they've 16 games against top half sides in the Premier League, and they've won 2 and drawn 2 and lost the other 12. And I think that's relevant because they're playing against the side third in the Bundesliga, but they're giving a half-decent account of themselves so far, albeit that this is Eintracht's best period of the game. Chaibi coming forward, almost able to slip the ball down the inside left channel for a really good run from Brown. Romero read that and just stepped across to his right, was able to cut out the pass, and then with the aid of Bergvall, Spurs are going to be able to venture forward. The ball then played back towards Bergvall was slightly misdirected, ran away from him. All he could do was slide down towards the touchline to stop it going out of play for a throw. That allowed Eintracht possession back, and Skiri will play it out towards Christensen over on the far touchline, the Eintracht Frankfurt right. Still 0-0. Manchester United a goal up over on Talksport against Lyon with Manuel Ugarte. They've had that lead for about 20 minutes. Rangers 0-0 away to Athletic Bilbao. Still waiting for the aggregate deadlock to be broken in that tie. And Chelsea a goal down at home to Legia Warsaw in the Conference League, but 2 goals clear on aggregate. Spurs bring it forward. Ball out towards the left-hand side. A doggy with a delivery that hits Tuta and goes out of play for Tottenham's second corner of the night.
Better pressing though from Tottenham, in particular James Maddison doing that work off the ball that I think is the way that he keeps himself in the starting 11, because his talent's there. It's then that work rate off the ball that I think's wanted by the manager. Good way to pass for a doggy and a good block to put it out from Tuta.
Bergvall's gone across to take the corner. Swung in right-footed, headed away by Tuta inside the 6-yard box right in front of his goalkeeper. And there's Pedro Porro trying to drive it back in. He couldn't get a good contact on it. The break could be on for Eintracht, but a poor ball out towards Bahoya. Lets Tottenham off the hook.
Yeah, big time. Ekitike playing out towards the left. If he knew and had a bit of awareness over his right shoulder, then they could have gone straight down the middle. It was Bahoya that might have been away. We were just caught with not enough defenders back there, Tottenham, because of the poor cross from Porro.
Chelsea back on level terms at Stamford Bridge. 4-1 up on aggregate. Mark Cucurella equalising that Thomas Peckart penalty. So 1-1 on the night at Stamford Bridge. 4-1 to Chelsea on aggregate. And providing they make it through, they play the winners of Rapid Vienna against Djurgården. And that one is currently 0-0 on the night. 1-0 to Rapid Vienna on aggregate. So Chelsea go to Austria as things stand in the semis. The ball is over on the Tottenham left-hand side. A right-footed in-swinging delivery that has split the gap between Bergvall and Solanke, who are there to attack it. It's half cleared, mopped up by Porro. Porro back for Bentancur, and in turn deeper from him towards Christian Romero. But Romero just played it straight back. That allowed Bentancur the chance to turn and bring it forward. And he's found Solanke. Space on the right-hand side of the area for Johnson, and he didn't see him. A clever little square ball there, and Johnson would have had a really good shooting opportunity. Now as Solanke head down, lost possession, and Eintracht can get it away towards halfway where Spurs will pick it up again.
Yeah, it's a terrific driving run from Bentancur, played in towards Solanke. His first thought was to try and swivel and shoot.
There's Tal, now a doggy. A left-footed effort comes in from him. It's blocked and goes out of play for a corner. And that time Maddison was frustrated that a doggy didn't play him in, that he'd gone for goal and just didn't slip the ball down the inside left channel. But it will be another Tottenham corner.
But I really liked what Solanke did to start with. Was that first touch was like bang, straight out of his feet, ready for a shot. But it was closed down. Then he needs the awareness to play to his teammate rather than trying to be a little bit greedy at that moment.
Well, those are the thoughts of the former England international striker Dean Ashton here on Talksport 2. 0-0. Bergvall to take the corner. More white and black paper balls being thrown down on him. Ball in towards the near post. Van de Ven trying to get a header. Couldn't get the touch that he wanted, and Eintracht will be able to clear. It's a game that's really ebbed and flowed. Both sides have had 6 or 7 minute spells where they've been markedly the better team. Now, Eintracht probably with the longest spell of ascendancy so far, but Vicario hasn't had a difficult save to make, and Spurs, I think, will feel, for all the fact that they haven't kept too many clean sheets this season, particularly away from home, that they've laid a pretty solid foundation.
Yeah, they have. It's not quite clicked yet, has it, in forward areas for Tottenham. They've not managed to get Maddison in and around the penalty area. They've not managed to give Solanke anything really to attack as yet. But possessions 51 to 49% in Tottenham's favour, so close, and 3 attempts each. You're right, they've had their moments, and Eintracht Frankfurt had theirs probably 5 minutes ago, and now Tottenham are having another spell themselves.
Porro has played it back for Romero to Mickey van der Ven. 10 yards inside his own half. Romero a little bit deeper. Worked forward towards Porro by the Argentine, and now the Dutchman van der Ven out to Matthijs Tal. White bandage around his lower right arm. Into the feet of James Maddison. Maddison taking a touch, moving back to his left. The doggy's waiting in the middle. Tell can deliver, flights the ball in. It's punched away by Carlos Santos. And he got a little bit lucky that he wasn't a Spurs player coming to meet that on the edge of the penalty area. Now they look long for Ekitike. And again, Romero and Van der Ven between them. Predominantly Romero that time. He can mop up, and as soon as Spurs got the ball to safety, Van der Ven turned and publicly applauded Romero's defensive contribution.
He did, but Ekitike's too quick for Romero. If he gets away, he's gone. Romero's not catching him. He was aggressive enough there just to hold him up and allow his centre-back partner to come across. Van der Ven, however, has then got the edge on Ekitike, so Ekitike will be thinking, can I work it so that I get on Romero without Van der Ven on the cover, is what he'll be trying to figure out.
8 minutes to go to half-time here on Talksport 2, and 0-0 on the night, still dead level on aggregate. as a strong challenge comes in, but a fair one on Tell. It's gone out of play for a throw. It's a competition that Eintracht won 3 years ago, beating Rangers on penalties in Seville. This their third Europa League quarter-final, and despite failing to win the first leg of either of their first two, they have qualified for the semi-finals both times, and Spurs hoping that lightning doesn't strike thrice. Good ball over the top here. Oh, goalkeeper's come out, got himself stranded. There's a collision between him and one of the Spurs players who's face down. It's Maddison, lying face down on the turf inside the penalty area. Now Carlos Santos, perhaps sensing the worst, has also gone down. That was a hefty coming together. Goalkeeper coming out is never really likely to be able to make clean contact with that. Relatively routine ball just chipped over the top. And Maddison got there first. Carlos Santos catching him. Maddison had got his head to the ball, tried to divert it over Carlos Santos, who got in the way. The collision between the pair of them absolutely inevitable. And Romero comes across and says to the referee that should be a penalty. The referee appears to be motioning back to Romero that it's a genuine coming together between the two players.
No, it's not. Of course it's not. The goalkeeper's coming out. He can see what's happening. James Maddison has got his eye on the ball. He's looking to then flick it on. He gets the header. It hits Carlos Santos in the face because he's come out. But it's so dangerous. It is terribly dangerous from the goalkeeper. He knows what's going to happen. He knows he's going to go smashing in towards Maddison. It collides with his face. Yes, it hits the goalkeeper in the face. You can maybe say it's brave from the goalkeeper. He can see what's going to happen. That's the issue. It's so dangerous from the goalkeeper. This surely has to be looked at.
Well, you've described it perfectly, because it's the ball hitting the goalkeeper. He hasn't deliberately played it. There has been a collision between the two players. The ball has hit the goalkeeper rather than him deliberately playing it. He's put himself into a position where it might hit him. He's played the percentages, but Maddison got there first. Now the VAR is Alejandro Di Paolo. I don't think there's any suggestion that the incident is being looked at, but on a different day with a different referee, that could easily have been a penalty and a red card.
I just can't understand how this isn't a safety issue. James Maddison is looking at the ball. He's flicking it on towards goal. Carlos Santos can see what he's doing. He's got it all in front of him. He can see where he's running. He can see that he's going to collide with Maddison. Yes, he's probably thinking as a goalkeeper, I've got to be brave, I've got to be big, I've got to stand in front of the ball. But he knows he's going to collide with James Maddison. How that is not seen as a foul, I do not know. And the referee is going to have a look. And I think that's right.
Not dissimilar to that incident in the Crystal Palace-Millwall FA Cup tie.
The big issue for me is the goalkeeper can see what's going to happen. That's the big issue. The goalkeeper can see what's going to happen. James Maddison can't.
Well, it's definitely dangerous play. As Maddison has got his head to the ball to try and flick it over the on-rushing goalkeeper, he's then turned to see the flight of the ball, and in turning, all he sees is orange. The orange of the goalkeeper's shirt. This is going to be a penalty to Spurs, and rightly so. Referee having a look, sent over to the monitor by Alejandro Di Paolo. It only took him 2 looks at it. It's going to be a yellow card. So it's not deemed to be excessive violent conduct from the goalkeeper. They've obviously thought that he's attempted to play the ball there. I'm not convinced he has.
No, he's attempted to save it, of course he has, because of the way he comes out and makes himself as big as possible. So he's attempting to save the header.
But he's not attempting to play it.
No, him attempting to play it is saving it, isn't it? With whatever means he can. It hits him in the face, it's a save. That's what he's trying to do as a goalkeeper. But ultimately, because he can see what's going to happen, it is very serious, dangerous play, in my opinion. But it's the right decision. It's without a doubt a penalty.
And Matthijs Tel stands with the ball in his hands. 3 minutes to go in this first half. And an opportunity for Spurs to take the lead. Tel stood waiting has now passed the ball to Dominic Solanke. Solanke, who hasn't scored in his last 11 games, his worst run since 2020. But he's got the chance to score a hugely significant goal here for Tottenham's season, for Ange Postecoglou. He runs up, hits it right foot, and sends the keeper the wrong way. Spurs lead in Germany by a goal to nil. They're 2-1 up on aggregate. A Dominic Solanke penalty, and Tottenham's European dreams have just got that big bit brighter.
He holds his nerve, doesn't he? Long enough, Dominic Solanke, because he's waiting for Kawa Santos to make the move. He's got his eyes fixed on the goalkeeper as he stutters and waits. And as soon as that movement's made by the goalkeeper, he calmly just slots it down the middle. He's so in control of this, Dominic Solanke, and he puts his team ahead.
And he celebrates like it's the goal that has won the competition. Races over towards where the Spurs fans are. Fist pumped. Even Ange Postecoglou allows himself to enjoy the moment. Spurs strike first. They're ahead for the first time in the tie. Maddison is okay, having been checked out. And it's Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Tottenham 1. Kawa Santos booked for the challenge. And Spurs now have something to protect. If they don't concede a goal tonight, they're through to the European semi-finals. Their record in quarter-finals, continental football's not been great. Tell's gone down now. Christensen with the challenge. Tell has stayed down, and there was an angry reaction from Johnson, who immediately went across to Rasmus Christensen. Christensen with a big grin on his face. Tell trying to protect the ball. Christensen just basically kneed him in the back of the thigh, and then got his hands in the armpits of the stricken Tottenham player to try and haul him back to his feet.
Well, I mean, it's obviously a foul. I don't know why he's trying to then pick up Matthias Tell. Christensen, that is going to frustrate his teammates, and it's pretty obvious that Maddison was never going to be able to carry on once you saw that collision. It was a horror collision for James Maddison. It's a blow because nobody quite cradles the ball like James Maddison, do they? Nobody quite can chop and change direction and create, but he was always going to struggle to stay on after that.
So Maddison coming off, and Deki Kulusevski will come on to replace him.
I think it's more actually, rather than the blow to the head, I think it's more the blow to the hip. I think the knee of the goalkeeper, Kawa Santos, went straight into the hip of James Maddison. It's more the way he's walking, I think.
So Maddison leaves the field, and Kulusevski comes on. He played every group game and scored against Rangers. He hasn't featured in any of the knockout ties because of the foot problem that he's been suffering from in recent weeks. But he made his comeback off the bench against Wolves the other night, or the other day, should I say, at the weekend. And he comes on now. We're in 6 minutes of added time, and Spurs lead by a goal to nil. Christensen working the ball forward. Chaibi, reverse ball from him. Ekitike on the corner of the penalty area. Back from him to Bohoya. And Kulusevski's in strongly trying to win it back and has given the free kick away. An opportunity as Ekitike is fouled for Eintracht Frankfurt now to flood the penalty area. Should have mentioned the disciplinary situation, incidentally. Kulusevski's on a yellow card, so too Bissouma and Bergvall. So any of those are booked tonight, Spurs go through, then it will be a suspension for the first leg of the semi-final. Eintracht have actually got 5 players in that boat, but the goalkeeper, the only player who has been booked tonight, isn't one of them. In comes this free kick inside the penalty area. Bergvall did well, stretched, climbed, knocked it away. Kulusevski's touch goes out towards the touchline, straight out for an Eintracht Frankfurt throw. In first half stoppage time, with Spurs leading 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got to see this out. They've got themselves ahead with the penalty. Really, really important that the concentration levels are really high now leading into half-time.
Tayat to take another long throw inside the penalty area. Romero can repel it. Comes outside the penalty area to Larson. Back from him to Tayat, to Tuta. And Tuta under immediate pressure from Kulusevski goes back to his goalkeeper. And he will drive it right-footed. Kawa Santos looking for the run of Brown. Porro with a pretty firm defensive header was able to guide it back to his goalkeeper. Had he not been able to get there, Vicario, it would have been a corner rather than an own goal, but he didn't die wondering there, Pedro Porro. He certainly put his head through that to fire it back to his goalkeeper. Manchester United 2, Lyon 0. Diogo Dalot in first half stoppage time over on Talksport. In fact, that's now half time. And United lead Lyon 2-0 on the night, 4-2 on aggregate. Spurs a goal up on the night, 2-1 up on aggregate. And they're both going through, as things stand, to the Europa League semi-finals. Rangers game would be going to penalties, as things stand right now. A long way to go there in Bilbao. 0-0 on the night and on aggregate. Lazio 1, Werder Glimt is the other scoreline in the Europa League at the moment. That's 2-1 to the Norwegians on aggregate. Half-time in the Conference League playoff. Chelsea 1, Legia Warsaw 1. So that's a 4-1 aggregate lead for Chelsea. Mark Cucurella with their equaliser tonight. Bergvall given a little chance in the midfield. Skiri coming onto it. Little right-footed flick from him. Chaibi. And Bentancur is able to mop up. They made a bit of a mess of that, Spurs. And have lost it again, actually, towards the edge of the penalty area. Chaibi back out towards Christensen. Chaibi bent his run to stay onside. Christensen firing a low one in. Bergvall trying to control it with his right foot, flicked it into his left foot, then into his right knee, and then over the line and out of play for a corner. Yeah, and
those are the type of little mistakes you just don't want to give towards half-time when you've got that lead. He's had a couple of moments already in his Tottenham career, Bergvall, where he's made a strange decision and cost his team a goal. He's young, he's energetic, he wants to work, but sometimes he's got to do it in the right way.
They scored that own goal at RZ, you'll remember. In comes the corner, which is headed away by Bentancur before it got to Tayat. Kulusevski trying to bring it away. Eintracht win it back and go back to their goalkeeper. Rangers are behind now in northern Spain. Oyan Sanset, Athletic Bilbao's leading goal scorer, with his 17th of the season from the penalty spot after a foul was given away. And Athletic Bilbao lead Rangers by a goal to 0. 5 minutes into stoppage time at the end of the first half there. 5 minutes into stoppage time at the end of the first half in Frankfurt, where Spurs lead 1-0. A Dominic Solanke penalty on 43 minutes, the difference between the two teams. Pedro Porro is going to take a throw for Spurs. Launched up the right-hand side, chested down by Solanke. And then Larson back for Robin Koch. Will find his goalkeeper, Kawa Santos. He gets it forward towards Tuta. Out towards Koch. And then to Tayat. Rolled down the left-hand touchline. Brown trying to control it. Kulusevski's won it back. Tottenham substitute using the full width of the pitch. Has it gone out of play? Yes, it has. And then a poor challenge comes in. There's an angry reaction from Nathaniel Brown. And Johnson, I think, is going to get a yellow card. He is indeed. First Spurs player booked.
Yeah, he just catches him, doesn't he? But that's a couple of times now. Eintracht Frankfurt players are really trying to ramp up the pressure from the referee, who's now coming across to give a red card to one of the Frankfurt coaching staff.
Yeah, somebody being led away. Clearly for dissent, an angry reaction to what had happened. General looks of mystery. And the coach involved is saying why, and then throwing in some choice expletives as well in the direction of the fourth official, Matteo Marcenaro.
But I think they're trying to get a reaction from Tottenham players, that's for sure.
Well, we saw that with the Christensen challenge. We've seen that subsequently as well. But the half-time whistle goes, and it is Tottenham that lead. They're 45 minutes away from a Europa League semi-final. Dominic Solanke's penalty on 43 minutes. His 12th goal of the season. His first since early January to end his longest goal drought in 5 years. After the Eintracht goalkeeper, Kawa Santos, came out and poleaxe James Maddison inside the penalty area. Maddison's had to go off injured. Kulusevski's replaced him. Solanke scored, and Spurs have the lead. Dean Ashton.
I think they've just edged it. Tottenham, I think they've just been a little bit more threatening than Eintracht Frankfurt. It's been close. It's been you have the ball, we have the ball, and have your moments in this first half. And I just think Tottenham just about deserved their lead at half-time. Of course, it absolutely was a penalty. The goalkeeper can see what's going to happen. It's so dangerous, in my opinion. I think he's quite lucky to stay on the pitch. Really, it's only the fact that I think it hits him in the face, the ball from Maddison's flicked header, that saves him in that sense. And it's a real shame for James Maddison. We hope he's not too seriously injured. But other than that one moment when Ekitike got through and Van der Ven was able to recover because of that pace, they've actually looked quite comfortable. They've looked reasonably decent in defence and controlled most of the game.
You're listening to Frankfurt against Tottenham in the Europa League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. What's most impressed you about Tottenham from a defensive viewpoint? Because there were some moments early in the game where the long ball over the top towards Ekitike looked as though it was going to cause problems. Van der Ven mopped up a couple of those, won a last-ditch intervention. Since then, Eintracht haven't really looked to play that long early ball forward. No,
they haven't. I've been impressed, I think, with when knowing to press and when not. I think that's what's impressed me so far from Spurs in that first half. Knowing when it's right to go and press and they've won it and put pressure on Frankfurt trying to play out, and when just to sit back. And that's what I think I want to see more of sometimes, is that protective element when the opposition's maybe got good possession. It's just to protect that back four at times rather than leaving them exposed. When they've done that, they've then looked comfortable, and when they've pressed, they've been able to win the ball back. It's been a good mix in that first half.
Does anything change tactically from Ange and now that they've got the lead, or should anything change tactically?
Not at the moment. I think he'll be really pleased with that first half. Of course, they'll want to iron out a few gaps that were left for Eintracht Frankfurt to play forwards, but that got less and less as the half wore on. I think he probably just wants a little bit more fluidity in the final third. When they've got into that area, they've not really created those clear-cut chances that I'm sure he would like, but he'll be really pleased, I think, at half-time.
Spurs, a goal to the good, courtesy of Dominic Solanke's penalty. You're listening to Frankfurt against Tottenham, brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL. Europa League live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Lotto's big Easter bank holiday jackpot isn't just any jackpot. It's big. Like big. Like big! Sorry. £15 million must be won this Saturday. Lotto from the National Lottery. Play on app. Account terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
It's in here somewhere.
He's looking for a car finance agreement from 2012.
It's probably in a shoebox.
He wants to see if he can claim thousands in compensation for mis-sold car finance. He should just text DRIVE to 60777 and let mycarloanclaims.co.uk do all the work. For more information on our no-win, no-fee service, text DRIVE to 60777.
My Car Loan Claims.
mycarloanclaims.co.uk is a trading style of a lawco, an SRA-regulated law firm.
Live on DAZN, April 26th, Eubank Jr. versus Ben.
This is the final chapter.
Over 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
The last fight, I believe my dad should have won.
All comes down to this.
I'm taking care of the family business.
A bloodline born to settle the score.
I am destroying Conor Ben.
Hatred in their blood.
I'm going to finish Eubank's career live on DAZN.
Eubank Jr. versus Ben. Live on DAZN, April 26th. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
There is nothing bigger than Eubank Ben. Co-op members now get prices matched to Aldi. Hold on, no way. Okay then, so Co-op members now get everyday essentials price matched to Aldi. So sign up and start saving. Co-op, owned by you, right by you. I wasn't expecting that.
Co-op member prices matched versus comparable products at Aldi GB. Co-op membership required. Co-op group food stores only. See co.uk/Aldi price match.
With
LV, I can get my home insurance from just £179. They've made it easy for me to get a great price. And their 24/7 emergency helpline lets me look after what matters to me. Because insurance is simple when it's me and LV.
No wonder we're rated excellent on Trustpilot. Get your quote today at lv.com. 10% of new customers paid £179 or less August 2024 to January 2025. LV General Insurance is part of Allianz.
Talksport Breakfast in partnership with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK. Move up through the gears every morning with top of the range sports edition, ABS, story breaking news, and more gold talk to the gallon. Plus a stellar lineup of super celebrity sports guests as standard. Talksport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 on Talksport with Arnold Clark. We guarantee the best used car deals in the UK.
Saturday afternoon, live.
Women's Champions League football.
Talksport 2.
And he's gone straight in!
Arsenal take on Lyon. An absolute corker. Coverage from 12. Kick-off 12:30.
In space, over the goalkeeper and in!
Saturday afternoon.
On the football station for the people.
Talksport 2. Kick it.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app, and on your smart speaker.
Oh, what a finish!
The Europa League live on Talksport 2.
The Postecoglou years. How will the story end? Tonight might give us a pretty good idea.
And a coveted place in the Champions League, vital to Amarine's summer rebuild, making elimination an utterly grim prospect. Here's Garnacho inside the penalty area for Manchester United. He cuts it back for Agate, and Manuel Agate has raised the roof inside Old Trafford.
Good ball, straight up the top, Ekatike. What a challenge from Van der Ven. Sliding in, denying Ekatike.
Cherky away from Euro. Cherky into the penalty area. Oh, he's still going, Rayan Cherky. And a really good save by Onana down to his right.
Brilliant run. Manchester United, you can see, were all clambering, trying to recover the ball. And it was a brilliant save from Onana.
As you sense that Manchester United have just got to ride out this Lyon storm. They lead 1-0.
Madison then tries to play it back forward towards the doggy. It breaks Tell's way. Good strike and well saved by the diving Cara Santos. Going to be a penalty to Spurs, and rightly so. Solanke, he runs up, hits it right footed, sends the keeper the wrong way. Spurs lead in Germany.
And Dallo steers the ball off the inside of the post and into the back of the net.
So far so good for the two English teams, both ahead on aggregate at half-time in the second leg. Manchester United 2, Lyon 0, Ugarte and Dallo with the goals. That's live for you right now over on Talksport, and if you've got the app, it's really easy to keep abreast of everything that's going on in that game. And the one that we're concentrating on tonight here on Talksport 2, where Tottenham lead by a goal to nil after Solanke's penalty 2 minutes before half-time. They're 2-1 up on aggregate. Manchester United are 4-2 up on aggregate. Rangers are trailing. A John Suter foul in the 45th minute in Bilbao. Oyan Sanset putting the penalty away for his 17th goal of the season. Rangers with it all to do against the side have only conceded once in their last 5.5 games. Bilbao 1, Rangers 0 on the night and on aggregate. And Lazio lead Werder Glimt by a goal to nil in Rome. That's 2-1 to the Norwegians on aggregate. The Conference League playoffs, wins earlier for Fiorentina and Real Betis. Now they're both through and will play each other in the semi-final. Chelsea 1, Legia Warsaw 1. Legia taking the lead with a Thomas Peckart penalty after 10 minutes. Cucurella equalised. He then had another goal disallowed after a VAR check for offside. So that's 1-1 on the night and 4-1 to Chelsea on aggregate. And as things stand at the moment, they'll be playing Rapid Vienna. But that's 1-1 on the night, their game against the Swedish side, Djurgården. And Rapid are down to 10 men. They have been since the 7th minute. Mo Sangare sent off. So 1-1 there. Danielson putting Djurgården ahead, and then moments later, Una Larsson's own goal tied it up. 1-1 on the night, 2-1 to Rapid Vienna, but they are down to 10 men. And so as things stand at the moment, it will be Chelsea go to Austria in the semis. Now there's one game being played tonight in League 2. Bradford second against Notts County, who are 6th. Neither side in great form at the moment. Bradford 3 points off the top at the start of the night and 1 clear of 4th. It's 0-0 in that game in West Yorkshire. Notts County 3 points inside the playoff place, hoping to avoid a third straight defeat. That's 0-0. We'll keep you abreast of everything that is going on there. And talking of the EFL, tomorrow, of course, Good Friday, and that means that we're in for a feast of EFL football. Leeds and Burnley level at the top of the Championship on 88 points. Sheffield United have lost each of their last 3 and have fallen 5 points behind the top 2. All 3 of them in action on Talksport tomorrow. And Adrian Durham will take you around the grounds from 3. We'll have updates from Watford against Burnley. Then back-to-back commentaries as the Blades welcome Cardiff before Leeds travel to Oxford at 8. And ahead of all 3 being in action, let's hear from the managers involved. Leeds' Daniel Farke, Sheffield United's Chris Wilder, but firstly Burnley's Scott Parker.
Like anything, I think we're at the stage of this season where, for me, there's probably three key things, and one is belief, one's a clear focus, and a real togetherness. Now, this team, we believe in everything that we've built, and we believe in everything that we do. Focus-wise, we've been focused throughout this year in terms of game after game and moments. And probably the biggest thing for this group is sticking together and being together. And that will be the key rider from now until the end. That's been the key message throughout this year. And they will still be the key things leading into the back end of this year, really.
It's also important that you make sure that the fire in the heart of the players is also burning, and we're also in many periods quite self-critical, and we always aim for more. And even after a good game or after a good run of wins, we always speak also about the things that we can improve.
From a statistical point of view, we've had enough ball in 3 games. We've had 70% of possession, so that's us with the ball. We haven't been negative in our approach. The approach hasn't changed from the Coventry game. Why would it change? Why would we go from playing against Coventry, one of our best performances of the season, to all of a sudden go into a negative approach in all 3 games? We wouldn't, and we haven't. We just haven't been good enough.
Sheffield United's Chris Wilder there, very frank and honest. His side 5 points behind, 4 games to go. They do travel to Burnley on Monday. So could there still be some movement in the top 3, do you think? Or would you imagine it's done now, Leeds and Burnley, the 2 that are going up automatically?
Oh, I mean, look, it was only a couple of games ago that we thought Leeds might be starting to wobble. It can turn so quickly because the games come so quickly in that division. And 3 defeats for Sheffield United all of a sudden takes them slightly away. But again, it will change. I think Chris Wilder's right. I just think they just haven't quite been good enough, and Leeds and Burnley have shown with that extra bit of quality I think that they've got in their squads, and Burnley's absolutely ludicrous defensive record I think is what's going to get them through when it comes to getting promoted. And look, I don't think it would be anything particularly harsh on Chris Wilder and Sheffield United. I actually think he's done brilliantly to build them back up to this point. It's just whether they might not have enough quality when the pressure's on, and that's the issue. Now's that time of the season where you can't not put those chances away. You can't concede that goal from a mistake, etc. It's that time of the season.
We still don't know who the 3 are that will go up. We've got a fair idea who the top 2 might be, but as you say, there's still with 6 hours of football left in the season, plenty can change yet, particularly with Sheffield United and Burnley playing each other. But you just wonder, having seen last season the 3 that went up come straight back down, it almost certainly it will happen again in all reality this time. Are the 3 equipped to be able to give it a go to stay up in the Premier League next season? Because it's getting harder and harder year on year.
You'd have to say no at the moment. You'd have to say that there'd have to be a lot of work done in the summer, because I don't think how the teams are playing right now would be enough in the Premier League. Daniel Farke, I think, again, has got such a poor record with taking Norwich into the Premier League. It just didn't translate from Championship football to Premier League football. So that doesn't fill you full of loads of confidence. But who cares? Get there and then worry about it.
Well, last week on Drive, Darren Bent suggested that they should sack Farke even if they get promoted, and he said, what about Jose Mourinho? Bring him in as a replacement. Is there ever a case for sacking a manager when he's just got to sign up?
You can't. You can't. I mean, it'd be a hell of a step. It really would. But then again, if you're going off how he did with Norwich when he got promoted, then you can make a case for it.
Tomorrow, live championship action. Derby Luton, 12:30 here on Talksport 2. Coventry West Brom at 3 here on Talksport 2. Sheffield United Cardiff at 5:30 and Oxford Leeds at 8. They're both over on Talksport. That's all to come tomorrow. Tonight, we're about to find out together whether Tottenham will be going through in Europe. The second half gets underway. The Spurs are a goal to the good on the night. Dom Solanke's penalty. No changes in personnel at the start of the second half, but very significant that the substitute goalkeeper for Eintracht Frankfurt, the 36-year-old Jens Graal, warmed up quite strenuously during the half-time interval. So maybe there's a doubt as to whether Carlos Santos is going to be able to be fit enough to continue after the knee injury that he picked up in that collision with James Maddison. But we're back underway. Spurs kicking from right to left as we look at it. The ball worked out towards Tayat, played forward and headed away by Christian Romero, and straight out of play for a throw. So Spurs lining up the Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven and Udogie, Bergvall, Bentancur and Kulusevski, who came on for the injured Maddison, as Porro mops up another long ball forward and finds his goalkeeper. Front three of Johnson, who's been booked, Solanke and Tell. They've scored Danso, Basuma, Richarlison, Gray, Spence, Audebert, Sarr, Davis and Moore as the outfield subs. Spurs in possession with Rodrigo Bentancur, who wins a throw on the left-hand touchline. Eintracht for the record. Carlos Santos in goal, Christensen, Tuta, Koch and Tayat. Skiri and Larson, Bohoya, Chaibi, who came on for Goetze early in the game, Brown and Ekitike, the 21-goal marksman up front. We're 90 seconds into the second half here on Talksport 2, and you and I are in the company of the former England international Dean Ashton.
And it's a reset. It's a half of football to get yourselves through to the semi-finals. You've worked hard in the first half, you've got yourself the lead. A clean sheet's going to get you through. It's something that's eluded Tottenham in their previous 10 games, but that's got to be the aim as a team, as a collective. Stop them scoring, you're getting yourselves through, but also, can we be a real threat as well? Can we go and get that second goal?
Now, Vicario's just kept 5 clean sheets for Spurs so far this season. I'm not saying that is by any means solely down to him, but it illustrates the fact that Tottenham have difficulty in shutting the opposition out. They might still feel that they need another to win this, but from what we've seen over the opening 47 minutes, they might also feel that chances will come their way to score another. Tuta playing the ball forward into Skiri, and then out towards Robin Koch, forward through the midfield for Skiri again, and then Tuta down towards the blonde-haired Christensen, played forward by the Dane, but Lucas Bergvall has easily won it. The referee says a foul on Bohoya, and then the free kick is taken quickly, rolled straight forward towards Bohoya. And Van der Ven isn't just quick covering the ground, but he thinks quickly as well and stepped across on the defensive line, was able to knock that out of play.
Yeah, it's terrific, wasn't it? Didn't commit himself, got his body positioned perfectly sideways, so that as that ball was tried to be played down the side of him, he was just able to stick a leg out and stop the attacker. I think Tottenham wouldn't have been happy though with that quick free kick, as it was nowhere near where the foul was actually committed.
No, not at all. Larson playing down towards Christensen. Christensen's ball for Bohoya, chasing. Van der Ven across to sweep up. Bohoya was really good in Eintracht's 4-1 victory against Ajax, which was the last European tie that they played on home soil. He's so far been quieter tonight. Just haven't been able to get him into the game. Tayat rolling it forward. Skiri. Larson seeing more of the ball now in the heart of the midfield. Kulusevski wins it back, but his ball doesn't find Tel, so Larson's got it again. Just plays it between the lines for Chaibi, who ordinarily is a winger, but he's playing at 10 tonight after Goetz's injury. Ball played out to the Eintracht left and then worked back towards Tayat. Out towards Brown. Brown's led with the edge of the Tottenham penalty area. Measured build-up here from Eintracht in this phase of play. 4.5 minutes gone in the second half. Tayat trying to find a way through. Sliding challenge from Johnson stops that happening, but at the expense of a corner, which is Eintracht's first of the second half.
Well, you should have expected that if you're a Tottenham player. That intensity to be risen by the Eintracht Frankfurt team, the manager, what he would have said at half-time. They want intensity.
Corner taken short, then worked in. Van der Ven heads it away. Out as far as Tuta. Tuta towards Tayat. Kulusevski leaning into him. Cleared, and the referee stops play. Initially, Spurs were breaking quickly. Then when he saw Tayat was down holding his knee, put his whistle to his mouth and stopped it.
Again, it was just really clumsy from Kulusevski. He's the one that can see what's going to happen. He's the one that probably needs to pull out knowing he's not going to get there first. Tayat wins the header and gets crunched by Kulusevski, who has got that yellow card, but the referee just felt like it was a foul.
Yep, no yellow card for him tonight. He's yellow card away from a suspension. 5.5 gone in the second half. Spurs leading 1-0 on the night, 2-1 on aggregate, but with a free kick to face, which is 14 yards outside the penalty area, slightly left of centre. Vicario is a couple of paces off his line. He's asked for a two-man wall. He's going to be hit right-footed, and Vicario is beaten, but Chaibi's effort's gone wide. Plenty of curl, got it over the wall okay, and Vicario was at full stretch. He obviously thought that was close, and seeing the replay it was. Possibly just beat him for pace as well. Not sure he would have had it covered had it crept a foot to the right-hand side and gone just inside that post.
Oh, I love that, though, in the way that he really set everything up. It wasn't a big run-up. The start of the run-up was quite slow, as if he's just going to clip this one in, and then the last 3 steps were really quick and whips it towards that top corner. Vicario, I think, might have got there, but it was a great effort in the way he disguised it from the goalkeeper.
And Chelsea are behind again on the night at Stamford Bridge, 2-1 down. They're still 2 goals up on aggregate. 4-2 they lead against Legia Warsaw, but they're trailing tonight in West London. Deadlock also broken in the game in League 2, where Kieran Kelly's given Bradford the lead at home to Notts County. Bradford 1, Notts County 0, and that will take them level on points with leaders Port Vale. Romero taking touch down towards his own corner flag, flicks the ball forward, it hits Chaibi. Porro will be able to get it further away. Solanke tried to hold it up and guide a cushion header back towards Kulusevski, but he couldn't find him. And the opening 7 minutes of this second half, not dissimilar really to the opening 7 minutes of the first, where there was loads of possession for Eintracht Frankfurt, and they've certainly had the lion's share since the resumption. Spurs struggling to get out and haven't come close to having a side of Carlos Santos' goal since half-time. Tayat wanting to take the throw quickly. Hadn't got too many options on, but he does find Tuta. He'll bring it towards the edge of the centre circle before playing it down towards Christensen. Christensen's ball back to Tuta. Tuta across the edge of the penalty area for Robin Koch. And then Koch plays it forward out towards Tayat. Tayat to Chaibi. Chaibi just feathers the ball into the path of Brown. Brown forward towards Ekitike. He's got Van der Ven between him and goal. He's come back towards the edge of the area, and then a right-footed effort is unleashed and blocked by a diving Bergvall. Comes out towards Skiri. Skiri taking it on. Christensen with a chance to deliver. That's well blocked by Udogi and goes out of play after a little double ricochet for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was well anticipated by Ekitike. That ball just in behind. He got ahead of Van der Ven, and then as he swiveled and took it towards the edge of the area, Van der Ven steps across. It's a little fake with the first attempt from Ekitike, and then that signature move that he likes, and he scored within the first leg. But there was Bergvall. That's what's important. If he does get free, someone recognises it, comes across and defends. Bergvall did brilliantly.
When Ekitike, a player with a great future, he got a hat-trick for the French under-21s against England last month. 4 goals in the Europa League, 14 in the Bundesliga. The former PSG man, 21 in all competitions for him so far. Here's a doggy finding Matisse Tal. He's trying to wriggle his way past Christensen. He's done well. He's got past him, then plays the ball back towards Destiny. A doggy trying to get away from Skiri. And then a doggy went to ground really easily. Just leant into Skiri and claims that he was fouled. Ange Postecoglou backs him up. Well, the referee wasn't having it, and Eintracht can break quickly. And they'll get it forward here towards Ekitike. Running at Pedro Porro, trying to flick the ball past him, but they've doubled up on him, and Johnson wins it back to get it away. Poked down the line to Porro. Larson very quickly closes him down and then fouls him, and it's a free kick to Spurs in their right-back position. 10 gone second half. 35 minutes away from the European semi-final, Tottenham.
And again, Tottenham look pretty comfortable when they're in a defensive position as a team. It's then when they go and attack and they leave those spaces is when Eintracht Frankfurt look the most dangerous. That turnover of possession and quickly looking for the wide areas where there's space is when they look the most threatening.
Only won one of their last 6 European quarterfinals, Spurs. Had won each of their previous 7 before that. Now, we talked in the build-up about the last one being 6 years ago tonight. That never to be forgotten. A tie with Manchester City, a 4-3 defeat in Manchester, seeing them through on away goals after Raheem Sterling's stoppage time goal was disallowed and stopped City having an aggregate winner. The last Europa League quarter-final that Spurs were in was against Basel, a Mo Salah-inspired Basel. A 2-2 draw at home and a 2-2 draw away. And Spurs went out on penalties. The last successful quarter-final they've had against a European side in continental football was in this competition, or the precursor to it, the UEFA Cup, back in 1984 against Austria Vienna. So ultimately they got through to the final and won on penalties. You remember Tony Parks was the hero. Spurs 1 up on the night, 11 gone second half. Not a huge amount of danger in the second period so far in terms of opportunity, but Eintracht having probably 8 to 10 percentage points more possession than they did before the break.
Yeah, and they're trying to build that momentum, aren't they? Eintracht Frankfurt, but Tottenham again keeping them at bay. That's definitely a foul from Christensen.
Now he's going to get a yellow card as well, and that means that if they go through, he will miss the first leg of the semi-final through suspension. The doggy committed him, and having got past the challenge of Bohoya, Christensen slid in and caught him. Easy decision.
Yeah, I mean, the referee's still got that incident in the first half in his mind from Christensen also. But once you go sliding in there, you've got to get the ball. He knew, he wagged his finger towards the referee. That wasn't going to do anything. It was a silly challenge.
Van der Ven goes back for his goalkeeper. Vicario out to the right for Romero, who chops it very quickly back onto his right foot to get it away from Chaibi. He will then lead the counter press on the goalkeeper. Vicario flighting it forward, but Tal couldn't keep it in. A bit more action on the Eintracht Frankfurt bench. Now we're going to see Can Uzen, the 19-year-old who made his name in the German second division with Nuremberg. He will come on. He has already won a couple of caps for Turkey, and he'll replace Bohoya, who, as I mentioned earlier, was brilliant against Ajax in the last round, but has been really quiet in both of the games against Tottenham Hotspur. So Bohoya off, and Can Uzen has come on to replace him.
Well, especially when that is where you're getting some joy in the wide areas, you then want those players to make use of that. And Bohoya hasn't done in the time he's been given.
So they've seen Bohoya off, and Uzen has come on to replace him, wearing 20. Ball played forward towards Christensen, but just sold him a little bit short, and Udogie is able to get there first. Then Kulusevski going in strongly, shoulder to shoulder with Tuta. Chaibi's covered an awful lot of ground to come back and get it away from Deki Kulusevski, but his clearance isn't the best. Udogie couldn't control it as well as he might, and Ekitike can inside the centre circle and lay back for Tayat. And now they're looking to break forward quickly. Options either side. Here's Uzun. First opportunity for him to try and deliver in towards Ekitike. Bergval's slice clearance way up in the air. And Vicario can come out. There's no way that was going to be deemed to be a deliberate back pass. Goalkeeper catches it to calm things down.
Yeah, towards the end of the first half, and now all of this second half, Bergval, Bentancur in particular, have sat more of a two in front rather than just Bentancur on his own, just to have that extra player to protect the back four.
Long ball fall from Vicario that Solanke's controlled really nicely. Chested it down into the path of Johnson. Bentancur then back out towards Porro. Driven forward by him. Chested down again well by Solanke under pressure from Robin Koch, and he's rolled it in towards Kulusevski. Back from Kulusevski inside the area. Johnson's just kept it in. Kulusevski again with a shot from a tight angle that's blocked and goes out of play for a corner.
Guy, he was just travelling too quickly, wasn't he, Brennan Johnson, to actually get the shot away. It was brilliant from Solanke, controlling on his chest, reversing it in towards Kulusevski. He then found Johnson, but he was just moving too quickly. The ball got away from him. He then cut it back to Kulusevski. I expect him to do better with this opportunity. When he comes in onto that left foot, tight angle still, he should be hitting the target. Really drags it and gets lucky that it deflects for a corner.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Played an hour, and Tottenham lead 1-0 on the night and 2-1 on aggregate. Corner comes in. Oh, it's just wide. What a chance for Romero. Nobody had picked him up by the penalty spot. He had a free header, got the jump on Tayat, and he sent his header a foot wide of the left-hand post.
It's a big chance. I mean, he gets up really well above Tayat. Tayat, actually, I've got to say, he did brilliantly, because he did everything he could. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but his ponytail of his fluffy hair got right in Romero's face as he's gone to head it.
You're right.
It did. It just put him off enough, because the goalkeeper had totally committed, Santos, so he was out of position. It just needed to be guided on target. I think the hair has put him off.
Uzun out towards Tayat, who's got a touch of the Wout Fass about him. The way that he looks, right-footed effort flies in from 30 yards out. It was really well struck from Tuta, but it ends up flying over the bar and goes out of play for a goal kick, which Vicario will take, and Spurs will be more than happy for Eintracht to be speculating from 28, 30 yards out. 1-0 to Tottenham, and they're not that far short now of the midway point of the second half. This is a game that they've now led for 20 minutes. And Vicario is wasting as many seconds as he can every time the ball goes out of play. He's not on a yellow card, so he'll be more than happy to incur the wrath of the referee and take liberties until he gets a yellow card for time wasting. Koch. Now Tuta inside his own penalty area for Eintracht. Christensen will flight it forward with the instep of his left boot. Headed down by Bentancur. You would Talksport 2, where Tottenham are a goal up on the night and on aggregate. Chelsea a goal down on the night, but 2 up on aggregate in their Conference League tie. Live over on Talksport, Manchester United still 2 up against Lyon, as they were at half-time with Ugarte and Dallow's first half goals. And they're 4-2 up on aggregate. And still, Werder Glimt hanging in there against Lazio. They're 1-0 down on the night, but they lead 2-1 on aggregate. And as things stand right now, it will be Tottenham against Werder Glimt in the Europa League semi-finals. But still, plenty of water to go under the bridge yet. Tayat, forward towards Uzun, the shocker black hair. Controlling the ball neatly, easing it away from Johnson, finding Tuta. Played forward by him. Kulusevski again in really strongly. And he's been playing right on the limit since he's come on to replace Maddison. He was in there strongly on Larson, his compatriot. Almost with the kind of challenge that makes you think there's no love lost between the pair of them. Tayat sweeping the ball out towards the right-hand side for Christensen. Ekitike, Chaibi trying to take it into his stride, but Van der Ven very quickly between him and the ball, and he goes out of play for a Tottenham Hotspur throw. 64 gone here on Talksport 2. You're listening to Frankfurt against Tottenham in the Europa League. It's live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you. Larson back for Tayat, approaching the edge of the box, knocked away by Porro. Spurs long suit is the counter-attack, and they're getting more opportunities now. Kulusevski's got it on the right flank, chops back inside, plays it in towards Johnson, inside the penalty area, threads it back for Kulusevski again. He waits for Porro to come forward in support, and his low-driven cross hits Uzun and goes behind for a corner.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess in the end from Kulusevski and Brennan Johnson. They took too long, and they couldn't make their minds up in terms of what they wanted to do. Porro came across and has won a corner, but that was more of an opportunity than they made out of it. That's where they could get some joy, is on those counter-attacks in this second half.
25 minutes to go. What Spurs would give for a second goal now. Eintracht showed in the first leg that they struggle to deal with high ball inside their penalty area. Will they again? Robbie Koch heads that one away. Kulusevski picking up the seconds on the edge of the penalty area. Another ball is driven in. That's headed clear. Down only as far as Tell. Oh, just over. Got it onto his right foot. Ekitike-like, but couldn't hit that top right-hand corner.
Yeah, did the first part really well, didn't he? Just, again, faking to shoot. Larson coming across and falling for it, but then when it's stuck under your feet, it's so difficult to get the craft on the whipped attempt towards the far corner. So hard to not keep it up in the air because you're digging underneath it from it being right under your feet, and that's exactly what happened for Tell.
Uzun back for Skiri, who just goes into and then straight back out of the centre circle again. Down towards Tayat. This is an Eintracht side that have won 2/3 of their games on home soil so far this season. I think they've scored in all but one of their European ties. Certainly scored in every home game that they've played in Europe this season. They didn't score on match day 8 in the group stage in Rome against Roma, and ended up finishing 5th in the group, one behind Spurs. Here's Destiny Udogie, low ball through the penalty area, great delivery, and Tayat had to scurry and get there just ahead of Johnson to poke it behind for a corner.
Yeah, such a dangerous ball. Udogie through the legs of Tuta out wide, it then opened up. Tayat did brilliantly, he made sure he was across. Brennan Johnson knows he's almost got a tap in if that was a little bit quicker along the surface.
What Tottenham would give for a 2-0 lead here, and a 2-goal aggregate advantage. Bergval's made his way forward to attack this corner, 7 in the penalty area. It's headed over the bar. Bentancur coming onto it, and he throws his right arm across his body in dismay as the effort doesn't hit the target.
Well, he should have scored in the first leg, and he probably should score here. He's a danger, isn't he, from set play. He's got himself into a great position. No real pressure on the header, just misguided it. Rather than just, again, head it down. The surface is skiddy. Head it down and let it zip off the surface. You don't need to try and aim for the top corners with headers.
Well, that's what Van der Ven did in the first game, and probably made too good a contact as he powered it into the ground, and that was a really good opportunity missed from a Spurs set piece, and Romero set the header wide tonight. Bentancur with that one that went just over the bar. Tottenham are in a position that they can create chances from corners. You would imagine they would score again. Here's Skiri, played forward by the Tunisian through the heart of the Eintracht Frankfurt midfield, out towards Ekitike, and it's a Tottenham throw. It's just come off Ekitike last, and he absolutely hates the decision. Standing there, hands outstretched, and it will be a throw to be taken by Pedro Porro. Spurs past the midway point of the second half here on Talksport 2, and still leading by a goal to nil. Solanke's penalty 2 minutes before the end of the first half. Uzan's got the ball, gets past the challenge of Johnson. Bentancur sticks a foot in, and then Larsson will try and take it on. Ricochets off Porro and out of play for a throw. The ball coming down and smacking one of the pitchside microphones, which I'm sure you would have been able to hear. Tayat juggling the ball, throwing it from one hand to the other, preparing to take this throw from the left-hand side. 69 gone. Robin Koch driven deep towards Christensen. Christensen heading it back. It bounces awkwardly for Bergvall. Romero knocks it away. There's an Eintracht player down inside the penalty area. And the referee says play on. It's an incident that will be looked at. I don't think there's much of a case to answer. Solanke back for Tell. Tell to Bergvall. And Bergvall just maintains possession, runs in a circle, flicks the ball back for Matisse Tell again. Tell, right-footed, swinging it in deep towards the far post, and Tell's got to deal with that and puts it behind for another corner.
Yeah, well, Ekitike's still down, holding his foot. It's just whether did Romero kick through Ekitike's foot to get it. I'm not too sure whether he did. There's a clash between the two of them. I think he's desperately trying to even things up, really, Mathias Tell, because yes, he gets a touch, but Romero does in a fair fashion.
Yeah, seeing the replay, I think the referee's positioning was good, and I think the initial on-field call was correct. Ekitike is still down, hurt inside the box as we go into the final 20 minutes, which gives me the opportunity to remind you what's happening elsewhere. David McGoldrick's just equalised for Notts County at Bradford in League 2. McGoldrick's 17th goal of the season. Bradford 1, Notts County 1. They started the night 2nd and 6th, and that's where they are right now. The Europa League playoffs. Bilbao 1, Rangers 0. 1-0 to Athletic on aggregate. Spurs leading 1-0 and 2-1 on aggregate. Lazio 1, Werder Glimt 0. And 2-1 to Werder on aggregate, and Lyon have one back at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Lyon 1. It's a game that's live for you right now over on Talksport. Corentin Tolisso with that goal. Manchester United 4-3 up on aggregate. Now Ekitike has received his treatment. He's had to go off the field, and it's a Spurs corner. So Eintracht are defending it with 10 men. Pedro Porro, right-footed, swinging the ball inside the penalty area. Romero gets a jump on it. His header is dealt with by Larsson, and then Christensen will be able to knock it further clear. Boom fall towards halfway. Ekitike can now come back on as Tell heads the ball straight out of play for a throw that'll be taken by Eintracht. 1-0 Tottenham.
Well, Romero and Bentancur, they're so aggressive when they attack corners. It's the reason why they've got joy against Eintracht Frankfurt is those two players. Just having the bravery to go and really attack it, really want to put your head in to get something. It's then can your teammates anticipate and get on the end of the header back.
Romero works it out of the Tottenham right and is cleared upfield, bounces a couple of times onto the right foot of Robin Koch, played forward by him. Did have a great record against Spurs when he was a Leeds player. Ekitike controlling it beautifully on the edge of the penalty area. Little back heel flick, a little bit of danger as far as Spurs are concerned. Ekitike still got it, linking up with Uzan. What Spurs now have is plenty of players in their green shirts back behind the ball inside the box. Uzan clipping it in over the top. Skiri will chase. Vicario's there first, and Tottenham have 17 more minutes to protect this clean sheet.
He looks threatening though, doesn't he, Ekitike? I mean, the goal he took at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was super, and that control there, just like a baseball being caught in a glove, just took it in. Lovely little swivel. He then needed a bit of help, actually. Needed a little run off him or someone to lay it off to. He tried to do it all himself.
You're listening to Frankfurt against Tottenham in the Europa League, live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear-out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. Doggy, back for Bergvall. Bergvall to the edge of the centre circle and back for Destiny Udogie again. Just the one substitution made by Ange Postecoglou so far, forced upon him in the first half when Maddison went off injured late and was replaced by Kulusevski. High ball from Vicario down towards Tell. He surely not kept that in. His feet were in the technical area by the time he's headed it back. A throw has been given. Christensen will take it.
Must be nice though. Oh, that's a poor ball from Robin Koch.
And picked up by Spurs, bringing forward Johnson. Johnson, right-hand side of the penalty area for the shot from Porro, but from Solanke, I beg your pardon, but it was well blocked by Koch and goes back out of play for a throw. He got away with it.
That was just a really poor pass. Robin Koch in towards midfield, pounced upon. Needed to be done quicker. Brennan Johnson took too long. Needed to be fed out to Solanke when there was the space there for him to get the shot away. By the time he did, Robin Koch was able to come across and cover.
Kulusevski trying to turn in possession inside the penalty area. Skiri stopped that happening. Eintracht dig it clear, giving Ekitike something to chase. He's up against Van der Ven, whose first touch was poor, and Ekitike's got it back. Big Mickey back goal side, but Ekitike's played round in good little 1-2, and Bergvall again covers the ground so well, read the situation, and was able to just about deal with the threat with the help of Van der Ven. Seconds won by Eintracht, bringing it forward. Uzen, 15 to go. Tottenham, a goal up on the night and on aggregate. Christensen, ball into a dangerous area. Chaibi got his foot to it. Vicario saves with his legs. Another ball inside the penalty area. Bit of head tennis going on. Bergvall with a dominant touch to get it clear. Then the ball hits the referee. Teat will play it in. Christensen with a diving header. Oh, Vicario watched it. He ended up going wide. But he just stood and watched, caught in no man's land, and he got closer and closer to his far post and then drifted just the right side of it from a Spurs perspective.
Well, he has to think that it's just going to go wide, that he's not going to get that close. First of all, he makes a great save from Chaibi when Christensen flashes it across, saved with his feet, but then he just lets it go as if it's going to be fine, and it curls and it spins and skips off the surface, and it only just goes past that far post. Couple of opportunities for Frankfurt.
Over on Talksport, Manchester United have blown their 2-0 lead. It is 2-2, and Alex Lacazette, who set up the first goal for Tolisso, has scored the second. It's his 16th of the season. Manchester United 2, Lyon 2, 4-4 on aggregate, and that game is live for you right now over on Talksport. Eintracht making a double change. White has come on, and Knauf has come on as well. Ansgar Knauf, who's been struggling with a knee problem. He's got 3 goals this season. 2 of them have come away from home in Europe. He is on. And Eli White, the €30 million signing from Marseille in January, who I mentioned it last week, and I'm going to mention it again because I still feel sorry for him. He once scored 4 goals in 15 minutes in a game and ended up on the losing side. I'm glad you've got sympathy for him. Here's Tell coming forward inside the box. It was a game for Montpellier against Lyon a few years back. Here's Lucas Bergvall now.
And do you know what he thought?
He thought, I've got 4 goals, I'm all right, Jack. Where's my goal scoring bonus? Times 4. Bentancur. There won't be many players that can say that they've ever done that. Then you always want a unique piece of footballing history. Bentancur plays the ball forward. Taken down that by Kulusevski. Running towards the edge of the penalty area. Spurs looking for a second. He's brought it back by the retreating Chaibi's there. And Christensen can get it further away. Then 2 players going for the same ball. Neither got there. And Bentancur, who's committed the foul, gets a yellow card. And is the second Spurs player booked tonight.
Yeah, he just goes in and slides. Yeah, obviously, because of the surface, it's perfect for the slide tackle. Bentancur just forgets to stop and just collided with Uzen with his studs. Not too high, but a yellow card.
Tottenham 12 minutes away. Manchester United over on Talksport 9 minutes away from going to extra time in their game against Lyon. 10 minutes ago they led it 2-0. Now it's 2-2 and 4-4 on aggregate. Another change is going to be made, and it's Sarr for Tell. for Tottenham. So Kulusevski will move out to the wing to accommodate that, Dean.
And I think that's the luxury he now has, Ange Postecoglou, is with a fitter squad, he can then change things, freshen things, but without losing the quality. Sarr will be terrific out of possession, but also can be useful on the counter-attack too.
Looks like Rangers' dream is over. Nico Williams has got a second for Athletic Bilbao. They're 2-0 up against Rangers on the night and on aggregate. Nico Williams with his 11th goal of the season. And Athletic Bilbao are going through, seemingly. They'll be playing either Manchester United or Lyon. That one, 4-4 on aggregate at the moment over on Talksport. If you've got the Talksport app, it's dead easy to swipe left and swipe right and listen to Talksport and Talksport 2 and keep abreast of everything that is going on. Spurs still going through, courtesy of that Solanke penalty in the first half. Suter for Eintracht Frankfurt, playing it down towards Christensen. Christensen trying to wriggle his way past Kulusevski. Sarr getting it clear on the edge of the box. Right-footed ball clipped back in. A dangerous one wide, going up for it. Could only get his dreadlocks to it to guide the header down into the hands of Vicario.
Yeah, just perhaps Sarr's gone into the challenge. He has followed through with the studs quite high. And then the ball was recycled and crossed in for Wahi, who couldn't quite get the power on the header.
Larson and Brown, the players who went off incidentally for Eintracht to accommodate Wahi and Knauf coming on. By the time Vicario takes this free kick for an offside, will be in the final 10 minutes. Now that Lyon goal now credited to Tagliafico incidentally rather than Lacazette, but it's 2-2 nonetheless and 4-4 on aggregate over on Talksport. Ball out of play for a throw to Tottenham. 9.5 minutes to go. Well, they've had some great results under Ange Postecoglou. They've had some chastening defeats, they've had some poor runs, but they have had in isolation some fantastic results in his tenure, and this would be right up there for everything that it means, the context of it, the pressure that he and the players are undergoing into it, the fact that the whole season depends on this 90 minutes and then 90% of the way through it with the lead.
The pressure is what you've said there. That's the issue, is the pressure that's on them, the fear as well of a defeat and what that could mean for the manager, for the season, for the players. It does feel that big, but you've got to see it through now. Wouldn't it just be typical if it was with a clean sheet also with this side this season?
Here's Knauf coming off the left flank, taking on Porro, getting in inside the penalty area. Romero climbs high at the near post and heads it away. Teat back for Uzun. Uzun's a deflection. Ekatike. Christensen, he's put it wide. He's 10 yards out. He's got time to take a touch. The only saving grace from Spurs' perspective, he came on his left foot and not his right. And he's drilled it wide by a couple of yards.
Well, they were just too eager to get out there. Papsar, Bentancur, Bergvall all allowed Houston just to wander in behind them. And then when it crossed in, Ekatike, it was behind him, but he got a touch which actually was favourable for Christensen. And he looked horribly uncomfortable in that position on his left foot. It's as if he wanted somebody else to take it and not himself. He looked so uncomfortable, hence why he put it 4 feet wide when he was only 8 yards out and central. So poor. What a chance.
8 minutes to go. I reckon 4 minutes of stoppage time. I think the Ekatike injury, we've had some changes as well, so maybe Tottenham within the last 12 minutes of playing time. They still have this 1-0 lead. So as things stand, they're going through. Manchester United's tie in the balance. Rangers heading out. And Chelsea losing on the night, but still 2 goals up on aggregate at home to Legia Warsaw. 7 minutes left. More live action coming your way in the EFL tomorrow, starting with Derby Luton at 12:30, one of 4 live games that we've got for you on the Talksport network on Good Friday from the EFL, including the big games for Sheffield United and Leeds. They're on Talksport, kicking off at 5:30 and 8 respectively. Here's Uzun. Left-footed shot from him. Christensen again. That one on his right foot. Similar distance out. It's even worse. It was on target, but it just dribbled through towards Vicario.
Again, rushed it. Didn't look comfortable. Even though it was on its favoured right foot, he's gone to side foot it, and he's used his studs rather than the meat of the inside of the foot. And when you use your studs, it takes all the pace out of it. Just bobbled in towards Vicario. Great header.
And the ball is flicked on by Solanke. For Deki Kulusevski. Left-footed across the face of goal and way wide. He was actually offside, so it wouldn't have counted.
Maybe he knew, because it was a poor effort from Kulusevski, but Solanke did well to win the header. Solanke's done really well, actually, tonight to lead the line on his own.
Kevin Danso is going to come on to replace Brennan Johnson. So a centre-half for a right winger, which tells you everything you need to know about the state of the game. Danso, who's been out for nearly 6 weeks with a thigh problem, coming on for his 7th appearance in a Tottenham shirt. And Brennan Johnson is the man that will make way. Now, a goal of consequence for Chelsea fans as Gordon go 2-1 up away to Rapid Vienna. So the Stockholm team tied it up on aggregate. Rapid are down to 10 men in that tie. It's heading for extra time at the moment, 2-2 on aggregate. Chelsea in the final minute of their game at Stamford Bridge, the final minute of the 90, and 4-2 up on aggregate. Over on Talksport, still 2-2 Manchester United against Lyon. They were 2-0 up and coasting, but it's 2-2 now and 4-4 on aggregate there. Spurs 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go here. Tuta down to Christensen. Christensen back for Tuta again, who sends a low ball skidding across the carpet out towards Chaibi, chipped forward by Teyat and headed straight out of play by Porro. And it's a throw that will be taken over on the Eintracht Frankfurt left. All of a sudden that clock's ticking down really slowly now from a Spurs perspective. Ball over the top. Romero knocks it away. He's playing in the middle of the 3 centre-halves. Danso on the right, Van de Ven on the left. It's very much a back 5. It's a 5-3-2 now, really, that Spurs are operating in when they're out of possession. Christensen to Tuta. Spurs getting deeper and deeper, inviting the pressure. Ball chipped over the top here. Romero can't win it, but did enough. Bergval's high up and under. Gets just outside the penalty area where it's headed further away by Bentancur. But inevitably now the ball's coming straight back. Chaibi with the ball over the top. Headed down by Christensen. Opportunity for Ekitike. Couldn't take the ball on the turn. Then he wasn't sure where it had gone. Uzun. Ekitike again. Green shirts all around him. Can't get a shot in. Lays it off for a shot that comes in from Teyat. And then Teyat sees his effort come back off Ekitike and takes a deflection, goes out for a corner. Work for Spurs to do with 3.5 minutes to go, and since they brought Danso on for Johnson, they can't get out.
No, they've gone deeper, haven't they, because of that? They've not really looked like trying to score that second goal, have they, Tottenham, in this second half?
And in comes this latest corner. Ekitike going up for a looping header. It's gone over wide and wide.
They've just not looked clinical, have they? Eintracht Frankfurt. Everything's looked a bit rushed, a bit rough and ready. There's not been that clinical edge, that cleanness to the strikes that they've had. But they are putting pressure on towards the end of this game, and you can feel the tension within the Tottenham players with how deep they're defending.
More action at Old Trafford. Lyon down to 10 men. Tolisso, the score of their first goal, has been sent off. So Tolisso off, Manchester United 2, Lyon 2, extra time beckoning there. They're just about to go into stoppage time. It's live for you over on Talksport. Knauf coming in off the left flank. Poor pass, straight at Bergval. Took a touch, whacks it, high up and under. Like something out of Super League. Was chased after by a couple of his teammates, but only paid lip service at that. Mopped up at the back by Kawa Santos, who gave away what at the moment is the decisive penalty, converted by Solanke after a foul by the Brazilian goalkeeper on Maddison. 4 they come with Robin Koch. Spurs defending again. Teat with the latest ball in. Danso can clear that. High ball out towards the far touchline, and it bounces on the touchline right in front of a Brazilian flag and straight out for a throw that Teat will take. High ball swung in here by Chaibi. Good goalkeeping by Vicario. Came out, saw the danger. He caught it about 15, 16 yards off his line. Thoroughly justified and vindicated for making that decision. It was too loopy across. And Vicario again will test the patience of the referee before knocking the ball upfield.
And that's what you want. You want your goalkeeper to anticipate when it's a bad ball and you can take advantage and get hold of it. The only thing he didn't do was then fall to the floor on his belly just to add a couple more seconds.
Well, I think if he thought he could get away with it, he would have done it, because amazingly he hasn't picked up a yellow card as yet for time wasting, but he must have been at the full limit of his seconds on a number of occasions. Of course, the law's going to be changed next season, so you're only going to get 8 and you're going to get a count from the referee. Ball threaded forward down the inside left channel where Sarr dives in and it flicked off the top of his boot. Goes out of play for another Eintracht Frankfurt corner. Late goal in Rome. Lazio 2, Werder Glimt 0 in stoppage time to tie it up on aggregate at 2 apiece. That one now heading for extra time. Winners of that play, the winners of this. In comes the corner, looking for Teat, headed away well by Solanke. 30 seconds plus stoppage time for Tottenham to hold on here.
Can't be pretty for Tottenham fans though. I mean, look, they are properly camped in. Tents are up, they're ready for added on time.
Christensen heading it on inside the penalty area. It's cleared by Kulusevski down the left-hand touchline. Chelsea have lost on the night 2-1 at Legia Warsaw, but they're through to the semis 4-2 on aggregate. Kulusevski just taking the ball from one end of the field to the other, down towards the corner flag. We go into stoppage time, and how many extra minutes are going to be added? It's pulled back towards Bentancur. Bentancur to Bergvall. Bergvall deeper still towards a doggy. It's 5 minutes. Van der Ven back for his goalkeeper Vicario. Spurs now know just 5 minutes to survive, to keep this clean sheet and to progress through with a famous victory of the semi-finals. Oh, the goalkeeper's come out, he's done it again. He's collided with Solanke, who's gone down face first inside the penalty area. That might be looked at. Play goes on meanwhile straight up the other end. Knauf on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Goalkeeper and striker still down. Right-footed effort from distance, really well blocked by Bergvall. And now play will continue with Kulusevski, but it stops to make sure that the two stricken players are okay.
But then that's, to me, that is quite strange. The referees allowed Eintracht Frankfurt to continue to attack, even though their goalkeeper's on the floor. The minute Tottenham win it and can counter-attack forwards, he stops it because the goalkeeper's down. That to me doesn't feel fair. Yes, it should stop, but not for one team nor the other. But it's definitely not a penalty. I think actually it's Solanke that collides with Santos.
The goalkeeper blowing heavily, but he's okay, he's back on his feet. And we're back underway. 3.5 minutes plus probably a few extra seconds now to be added on. Spurs 1-0 up on the night, on the verge of a famous victory out of place in the semi-finals. Ball cleared up the right-hand touchline. Solanke will chase after that's gone out of play for a throw that Robin Koch will take. Listen, if Spurs don't see it through from here, it will be heartbreaking for them. They're nearly there, very nearly there. Ball headed away by Danso, brought down by Sarr, out towards Porro. Right-footed down the line. Koch on the end of that for Eintracht Frankfurt. Plays it back to Tuta. Tuta inside the centre circle. And a right-footed ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Teat going up for it and winning the seconds as well. Low-driven ball in towards the near post. Vicario trying to keep it in, stop it going out of play for a corner. And he threw himself headlong at it, Superman style. And had it not gone out for a corner, he would have been stuck in no man's land. It has gone out for a corner. Santos is asking for permission to come forward from the back to attack it. We're in the 93rd minute. In comes the corner. Heads go up for it. And it's taken a flick, I think, off Knauf behind Ekitike. He's lost out to a doggy. And a doggy has won a throw. Spurs have got 2 players down hurt, 3 players down hurt inside their own penalty area. This will add seconds on, but will just allow them the opportunity to regroup. Romero's down, Danso on his feet but holding his head. There was an almighty collision in there.
It was ridiculous, wasn't it? I think it was 6 players all going for the same header. Elbows in there, clash of heads. Romero might just have a little nick on the eyebrow from that challenge also. All this does is add time, doesn't it?
2 minutes more is the signal that Dino Topmüller, the Eintracht Frankfurt coach, has just given his players. So he's just been told by the 4th official that when play restarts, there are 2 minutes left. It's not going to restart anytime soon because Romero's still being checked out. Rangers are out of Europe. They have been beaten 2-0 tonight. Athletic Bilbao 2, Rangers 0. On Talksport, Manchester United 2, Lyon 2 at the end of 90 minutes. And we welcome listeners from Talksport ahead of extra time in that game for the conclusion of Eintracht Frankfurt Tottenham. At the moment, Spurs leading 1-0, 2-1 up on aggregate after Dom Solanke's penalty in the closing moments of the first half. We're in 5 minutes of added time in Frankfurt with 2 left to play when play restarts. Romero at the moment down injured and being attended to. So 2 minutes left when play restarts. Ange Postecoglou trying to get a message across to Lucas Bergvall in the driving rain. Teat, with an angry reaction, picks up a yellow card. There's been some simmering ill will between these 2 sets of players for about the last 60-70 minutes or so, and Teat's just picked up a yellow card. Something that was said inside the box in the aftermath of all of that. I think he's leaning over Romero and telling him to get on with it. Well, they had to go through the concussion protocol.
Plus he's got a gash to the back of his head that the physios are dealing with. But they're frustrated because Tottenham have shown a different side of themselves. They've shown that they can dig in. They've shown that they can sit and defend and be hard to beat and to be hard to create chances against. They've done it brilliantly this evening. I've got to say, why haven't we seen it a bit more?
So we're back underway, which means that the game should stop at about 97:30. And we're just coming into the 97th minute, so a minute and a half to go. Teat playing it forward. Romero's off the field at the moment. He's just come back on. Ball inside the penalty area. Bergvall can head that away. He's sitting deeper and deeper now. All hands to the bump defensive as a poor challenge comes in on Skiri. Play goes on. A doggy has won it cleanly. Gets it away from Musen inside the penalty area. Drives it forward. The referee had initially played the advantage. Now he's pulled it back for the foul on Skiri outside the box, and a yellow card is shown.
Oh, it's ridiculous from Romero. He just cannot let it affect him. He has to get involved. It's like the fact that Teat has tried to pull him up and said that he's slowing the game down because of the cut on his head. It's got to him. He's boiled over. He's stood on the side. He can't wait to get on, and he's gone steaming in to the challenge on that wet surface. He's quite lucky that it is only a yellow card. He just needs a bit of calmness. It's such a big moment at the end of the game.
About 45 seconds left to play, we reckon. Free kick to Frankfurt, 16 yards outside the penalty area. Kawa Santos, the goalkeeper who gave away the, at the moment, decisive penalty, is forward to attack this. He's fired inside the penalty area, looping header on. Danso gets his head to that, bounces inside the penalty area. Bergvall knocks it away. Kulusevski will get it further clear. Mopped up at the back by Skiri for Eintracht. About 20 seconds left. And again, Spurs win the second ball, and they should just be able to nudge it down the touchline here towards the corner flag and towards victory. The doggy taking it down there now. They can't get it back off him, and they've won. Spurs have won. Delights on the Tottenham touchline. Scenes of jubilation broadly unheralded in the 24-25 season for Tottenham Hotspur. What a win this is. Eintracht Frankfurt, third in the Bundesliga. And Spurs, the better side last week, the better side this week. Dom Solanke's penalty getting the job done. The first time that Tottenham have beaten a European side in a European quarter-final since 1984. That year, they went on to claim the UEFA Cup. Now, they're in the semi-finals. They've won tonight, courtesy of Solanke's penalty. 2-1 victory on aggregate. A huge win for Tottenham, and an even bigger one for Ange Postecoglou.
A massive night. Pressure off for a small amount of time, but they deserve it. They deserve this night because of the way that they defended, because the way they stuck together. They made it difficult. They showed a side of themselves that we haven't seen enough, certainly this season. So many players deserve credit for their defensive display. 10 without a clean sheet, and then you go away in a quarter-final against Eintracht Frankfurt and you keep one because of the way you defend properly. Been really impressed with that performance from Tottenham. They fully deserve to go through.
That's extraordinary character and resolve. Because you have to remember that Spurs tonight weren't just playing Eintracht Frankfurt, they were also playing the situation. And they've beaten them both. And they're through. They've won by a goal to nil. Eintracht Frankfurt 0, Tottenham 1, and they will play either Lazio or Werder Glimt in the semi-finals. That one's gone to extra time after Lazio's very late equaliser there to take it into extra time. The Spurs fans jubilant. The songs in the North London accent ringing around the German night sky. Ekitike is in tears, his shirt over his head as he sits down on the Eintracht bench. Very few people saw this coming. What a job Tottenham have done against an Eintracht side that blew Ajax away comprehensively in the last round. But Spurs with performances that have rolled back the years. That is what European football is all about. Many congratulations to them. The celebrations will go on long into the night. Tottenham are through to the Europa League semi-finals. Dean, what a night for them.
And just Ange Postecoglou's face, the pride on his face. He's the one that's been feeling the pressure the most. He can't not. The line that he said earlier in the season about winning trophies in his second seasons when he's with a team is there for everyone to shoot him down with. For his team to get through the way that they have done and handle the pressure, that's pride on his face is what that is. And maybe he can just have, at least for one night, a little wry smile at those that keep doubting him and keep putting the pressure on him.
Wow, what a night. What a performance. Time now to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Well, Dean Ashton, a few candidates tonight, all in green. Who are you going for?
They are. It's got to be a defensive player. The way they defended was brilliant. And they're just a totally different team with a fit and firing Mickey van der Ven. I just think he makes such a difference. He allows everybody else to be more aggressive because they know they've got him behind. And the time when they really needed him, when Ekitike got through, he got them out of trouble. He defended properly when he was in 1v1 situations, and he just makes such a big difference to Romero, to Porro, to Udogie. I think he's that important, and he was brilliant tonight.
So, the plaudits to Mickey van der Ven, that our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.